All right, so today we're going to be doing our 1-point perspective drawing from a bird's eye view. And this is what it's going to look like. When we get done, we're going to do 4 buildings together. And then you have to add buildings on your own by yourself. All right, so first off, write your name at the top where it says name. We're going to start with our first building, and we're going to start with our convergent lines that go to the vanishing point. And since we can only see one side, all we have to do is come from the bottom right and bottom left. So I'm going to line up my ruler, and I'm going to make sure I got my vanishing point. So when you line up your ruler, you have to have patience and you have to take your time. You don't want to just kind of line it up and draw a line. It has to be exact. And then just so I don't have to do any extra erasing, I'm going to stop my line right there. And now I'm going to come from the right side. And even though my brain might tell me this is wrong, I have to line up the right corner to the vanishing point. It might not look normal at first, but in the end, it's going to look like we're an airplane or a bird over a city and we're looking down. All right, so next we have to draw a horizontal line, and we need to make sure it's a perfect horizontal line. We don't want to, like if we had one of our convergent lines longer, we don't want to connect it that way. We don't want a diagonal. It has to be horizontal. All right, and then next we're going to make some windows. So all of these lines are going to be convergent lines. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and go on the millimeter side and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to take my time. I'm going to line up my ruler from dot to vanishing point and draw my convergent line. If your ruler accidentally moves while you're drawing, you need to go back and redo it. Oh, I forgot to stop, which is fine. If you do, you can just erase your extra lines. All right, and then next we want to do our horizontal lines, and to give the illusion of it going down into the street that we're looking from the sky, our lines are going to get closer as they get closer to the vanishing point. And one way that you can do that is line up from the right corner here to the left corner right here. And then if you make a dot at each convergent line that we just drew, where they intersect, that's going to tell you where to draw your horizontal. So now I'm going to line up my ruler, and there's my first dot. Make sure, and the good thing about using a clear ruler is you can use these lines to line up on another line to make sure that you have your perfect horizontals or your perfect verticals. You can also just kind of guesstimate if you want when you're doing this, especially when you get closer. I'm going to draw a few more lines that I had not drawn, but yeah, get a little bit closer together. All right, and then let's go ahead and draw another square on top of the building. It could have a door. We could always add a door if we wanted to, and that would be a vertical and then two convergent lines. And I would need to get that, but we don't have to add a door. So you could pretend that there's a door and you could walk out like there's staircase, or maybe this has vents or something if you wanted to add some vents. But first we're just gonna start with our square. I think I'll just draw two verticals and then two horizontals, and then erase whatever's hanging extra over. All right, so to make this three-dimensional, we are going to come from the top right to the vanishing point, to the bottom right, and to the bottom left. So I want to line that up. Okay, so this part can get confusing because you're going to want to just connect it like this, and it's not going to look right if you just draw a diagonal line. You have to line it up, and you have to make sure you're drawing a vertical. And then this is going to be a horizontal. If you wanted to, you can add some shading. Let's say our sun's coming from here, then we might have some cast shadow. And then the sun's coming this way. So there we go. All right, our next building, we're only going to have to draw one convergent line to the vanishing point, and then we're going to have some horizontals and verticals. And then we're going to just draw some vents with some circles. Okay, so from the bottom right, I'm going to draw my convergent line going to the vanishing point, and I want to make sure I don't go past this building because then it would look like they're floating, and they're not supposed to be floating. And then I want to make sure that I have a good horizontal line. And then for this one, you don't have to do convergent lines. You can just do your horizontal lines. You just want to make sure they get closer together as they go back into space. And I'm just kind of guesstimating. And just make sure that each time I draw a horizontal line, they get a little bit closer together. And then I actually have room for one more. And then this one needs to come all the way to the edge. Maybe add a little shading there. And then we're just going to draw a square, kind of like there's a ledge. Or I guess a rectangle. So I'm just going to line up my ruler with each side and make sure it's parallel. So I have vertical, horizontal. Now I'm going to do vertical again. And I need to come back and connect. And then I'm going to draw 3 circles. And then if the sun is coming this way, then the top right would be darker. So, and we've shaded a sphere, so you can add a little bit of shading, and then some cast shadow. There we go. And then if this was a ledge, this might have a little bit shading right here. And then maybe some on this side. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to do our bottom 2. So I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to come from these 3 edges of the building. I'm going to make sure to line up my ruler. So all of my lines from the corners of the building are going to the vanishing point. All right. Now I'm going to draw a horizontal line. And then to connect this one, once again, I'm not going to draw a diagonal. This is one of the most confusing parts because it has to be a vertical line, and so it's going to create an extreme angle. And then I'm going to do this top part. Making sure I have a perfect vertical, horizontal, and erase. And if the sun's coming from this way, then this side would be darker. And could add some shading on this side. Maybe come back and spend a little time on it, make it look better. All right, so this building, we are going to do our 2 convergent lines, and then this one we're going to draw as if it's coming to meet about right here. So first I'm going to do the side of the building. Once again, I don't want to draw past this building Because if I did, it would be like it was in front of it and floating, and that would be weird. And so here I'm just kind of guesstimating my line right here as best I can. All right, so this is going to be a vertical. And let's see here, a horizontal. Then I'm going to draw another ledge. So notice how I take the time and make sure my ruler is adjusted. And then once again, I could add some shading if I want to. If you want to increase the road at all, if you want to add another road, then you can draw 2 vertical lines. I think I don't like how wide I made that. There we go. That's better. If you added cars, you would just see the silhouette of the top, which would pretty much be rectangles. And then you do have space to add what you need to for the rest.